And we are live. Hello everybody and welcome to D&D Papihos session 96. My name is JC and I'm joined here by three wonderful people, Helminia, James, and Suzanne. Unfortunately today we are down 2 players. Jazz and Alpha are not able to join us, but we are going to be trekking on anyway specifically because we are finishing up our time skip this stream. Nime and Gilgamesh have already done what they wanted to have gone through face-to-face in person. And so, we have a couple more loose threads to tie up. So, we are going to, let's get going. Where we last left off, there was a lull in our heroes' lives. There was no prevalent threat. The villains in the dark seemed to have receded for the moment, and our 5 adventurers were given a moment to breathe. And they needed it. Moving some of them out of country to go and pursue other things that they felt that they didn't have the time to do before, and others standing their ground and kind of spreading their roots out in the city of Greywall, in the continent of Papihos. Rem went home to Equaria, to his original temple, taking along with him Suna and Barris, who since then have teleported back to Papihos, but assisting with the temple being built back up to scuff, as well as showing joy for some of the new initiates after being gone for so long. Suna has accompanied Rem on this journey, but as she came back, she became the personal weapons tutor for Roxy, the princess of Greywall, daughter of the High King and Queen of Papihos. Gilgamesh went back and picked up the mantle of champion of Dacaria, assisting with the many, many problems that the heart of Dacaria volcano has, and as well as picking up 2 students of his own, the 2 half-elven boys from Dartmouth so long ago that have risen to become fighters/barbarians of their own. Nime went off to Usapate, looking for her old mentor and finding him in a stricken condition in a house that he had built himself on the outskirts of her hometown. Helping him back to his former health, she taught him how to shoot a gun. And the 2 of them went and picked back up their mercenary ways, going currently gallivanting through the continent of Usapate and beginning to plan to head up north to Ashar to do more mercenary things up there, let's be honest. And finally, Zex, I was about to go back to the start. Zex, you were never quite able to shake the feeling of dread about the Ascended. And so a lot of your time here has been dealt with, one, supplying yourself with jobs and running contracts, but also researching. And with that, you teamed up with Lixen and, by extension, the Hearthman, going past and actually opening up the Tomb of the Ascended to the Hearthmen themselves by bypassing the Avatar of Kor. The When that turned up dry, you were partnered with a young woman named Sal, who is directing you through the High Sands Desert. And that's where we're picking back up. The last stop that you have, Zex, in the High Sands is simply the Academy. Sal tells you about it as you two are on your travels, of how it is a high-performing academic school, known to produce both people of very high academic general records of mathematics, arithmetic, and also the arts. It is not the main school that would produce wizards that honor goes to Sabline, actually. But, being a native of around this area, she does speak of the Academy with a little hint of pride in her voice. The other thing about it is it acts as a small village in itself. Because it is an oasis, people tend to gather around the walls of the Academy. As water is not regulated, they every day have volunteers from inside the Academy come and take water to the outside to supply people around, and with it, a small kind of shantytown market has been set up around the Academy itself. You get there eventually, and you can see the beautiful sandstone, the carved rock that is this ancient looking academy. It looks like a building that has been ruined at several points and every single time restored to its former glory. It's this beautiful old architecture, spanning in this kind of almost castle wall, this rectangular shape that dots into a courtyard in the middle, which is the oasis. And outside the shantytown, you can see many carts that have been turned over and had sand pushed up against them to make almost a bit more hardy tents as people crawl under and live in the overturned carriages. The actual academy itself is quite impressive, being probably filled with maybe about 500-600 staff and students in total. The staff is happy with the persuading of Sal to give you a bit of a tour, and while they apologize that several members of the staff have gone out on expeditions, as the higher graduate programs actually go out into the world and do physical things, there are still plenty of undergraduates, and it's a very refined academic atmosphere that you're a little surprised that would be out in this desert. Zex, is there anything you would like to add onto your search of the Academy?
Well, now that we've seen one symbol in the desert, I'll just kind of look around and see if there's any others in this location.
Any other
markings pertaining to the Ascended?
Oh, okay. You're welcome to, I'd say that would be investigation.
Okay. That is a 19.
19. You try not to be obvious about it, you know? There's no reason for you to upset yourself, and if, of course, these people were involved, you wouldn't want to tip them off. So it's kind of leaning down, scuffing your shoe against sandstone where you meet, not just regular sand along the outside, kind of brushing your hands along walls, and generally keeping your eyes peeled. However, fortunately, there are no symbols pertaining to the Ascended. In the courtyard, in the outer perimeter of the academy, no amulets around necks of staff or students, although I feel like that would be a little terrifying if it was so.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing of that sort.
If there's nothing, then there's no reason for me to stay here any longer.
All right. And with that, you've completed your journey of the High Sands. The next step on the journey, after refilling, of course, in the oasis at the academy, is Vikram itself. With her mission completed, Sal bids you farewell and good on your travels. With that, unless if there's anything else you wish to do in this particular moment, we'll be moving along to the next event.
Let's move along.
All right. The next main event is probably several months, 2 or 3 months into the future. Suna and Zex, you two are both back at Greywall after reconvening. Suna, you continuing to teach Roxy before, I believe... Rem, were you intending to head back, or were you going to message Zex who could teleport to take you back?
I was going to let him know I need to be picked up.
Where, let's have it be, I assume Rem might want to stay until the end of the day, since teleporting doesn't take too much effort. But we'll say Suna and Zex have finished the tasks of this particular day, when Zex, you kind of both are beginning to kind of sit down, wind down for the day, when you hear Rem's voice in your head.
Okay.
I've concluded my business, and it's time to come back home. You can teleport to the carriage.
On my way. Am I rolling percentile dice since I don't have a circle?
I believe you don't have a circle, but you have a pretty good chance.
I have like a 75% chance of hitting it dead on.
I'll pull it up and we'll have you roll.
Okay.
I think you'll be fine.
He just mishaps back and forth forever.
Familiar, if he gets a 24 or below, there's problems.
I got an 8.
Let's have fun. I should ask, just in case, if you want to take Suna on this great adventure, do you offer to take Suna along?
Only if Suna is, home.
They are.
It's in the evening. I'll ask if they want to come with.
You just come right back, right?
That's the intention.
Nah, you're good. I'll
Sounds
stay.
good.
Okay. This is funny.
Just teleport to some random person's carriage.
What's the should I go easy or should I go hard? Should we make this interesting?
Throw him
Hard.
straight to like an
Hard.
open grave.
You're not into the
Well-
carriage.
Well, what I rolled was similar area,
Yeah, I know.
not
No,
mishap.
I'm thinking it's like
so-
something. You appear in the closest. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're going to kind of take the breath and let it out to teleport as you blink out, and immediately you appear and your head kind of like bends down a little bit, almost like a bow, as you do teleport out. As you raise it up, you kind of hit your head on this kind of soft spruce wood top, and you immediately look around and you're not in... First of all, you're in a lot smaller of a carriage. Also, this is very obviously to you not Rem's carriage, and you're in this like very, very kind of homely but very bare bones inside of a carriage with clothes drapes across the windows. And you can immediately kind of hear some muffled voices talking of this kind of man's voice of talking. I think we're good for the day. It doesn't really matter that there's an hour left. You're welcome to take the rest of the day off.
Does it sound like anyone's about to come in the carriage?
No.
Okay, I'll just try again.
Oh, I forgot you had another one.
Yeah, 8th level slot.
Yeah, they rolled a 3 on their perception, so I think you're fine.
Thank
Oh,
goodness.
shit. They're deaf.
Well, and
There's just
there's
a
no
soft
sound from my
thud.
feet or anything, so
Yeah,
we're
no,
good.
there's just a soft thud as your head hit the top of the carriage.
Yeah.
All right. You can roll again.
Okay. Roll in again.
Thud.
Nope, we're good. 97. Huh.
97. And this time you bow your head, you blink out of this carriage and into, as your head hits nothing, as this carriage is quite a spot bigger than the other in Rem's carriage. As you kind of open the door and step out, you feel the kind of overwhelming smell of pine and fresh earth as you can step out into this older looking temple that has what seems to be a lot of freshly churned earth along both sides of it, flanking the actual main chapel that is still completely together. And it looks like a bit of like construction has been going on with the temple itself.
Interesting. Okay, I'll step out of the carriage
Okay.
and walk near the temple looking for Rem.
Rem, would you be waiting near the carriage or would you be waiting in the temple?
I'd be waiting near the carriage. I'm assuming everyone would be waiting with me as well.
Okay. So we're going to have it. You step out from one end of the carriage, you see it over the top of the carriage, and you turn the corner into Rem and what looks about like 20 other people. Of gnomes and halflings, and there's one, he kind of stands out, goblin as well. All of them wearing these, except for Rem, of course, all of them wearing similar clergy clothes. All of them kind of just staring at you. And Rem, you see your ally Zex kind of step out and get caught in the headlight.
Ready to go?
Ready to go?
Okay. I'm gonna cast teleportation circle.
That takes a minute.
Yeah, it does.
All right. As Zex kind of pulls out the chalk and begins sketching, Rem, you can kind of hear Kate kind of pipe up and just. It seems that all of your friends are quite fast, quick on their feet, and quite busy as well. Who's this one?
This one's the menace. The other menace.
Mm.
Thanks.
And Zex, you can hear the sound of like this probably like 5 or 6 year old boy going, "Hello, Menace."
Hello.
Well, it's been a great joy to have you here, back. I can't say where you belong anymore because it looks like you've done quite well for yourself, Rem, but you're always welcome.
You know I'll always belong here.
I will be ready for the next time you come.
I should
Hopefully
be
with
back
more
sometime
walls.
within the year.
More walls.
Hopefully so.
And with a stroke of the chalk, the circle lights up. And the last thing you hear as you kind of step through Rem is the chime of that lovable little ass of a kid. Just simply cooing, "Bye-bye, Cookie Man," as you step through.
This kid was not effectively terrorized while I was here. When I
No.
come back next time, I'm
The problem is, and it's not through lack of trying, the kid is a wall of... Your sugar did not help him throughout the months.
probably did not.
And the kind of feeling in your lungs as the two of you are whisked away back into the Mages Guild through the teleportation circle. And the two of you are back in Greywall.
As soon as we're back in the Mages Guild, Zex will just kind of slump a little bit and start heading towards the exit and back to the keep.
I'm taking the carriage out of the big back door and making my way through.
All right. With now 3 of the members back in Greywall, I assume Zex gives Rem a little bit of time to get his bearings back.
Mhm.
But the city itself, kind of running in this moment, probably diving back into winter itself. The kind of light, crisp air that you feel is very different from Ikrera. You've realized, Rem, that you've gotten back to being accustomed to that warm kind of semi-humid air that Akraria kind of just possesses, and getting back into the drier, crisper air of Greywall. It'll take a couple days to get back into the swing of it.
If we're getting winter again, did we miss the Halls of Glory? It's quadrilennial.
It's quad. It happens every 4 years.
Did we
It's-
miss the Feast of the Moon then?
You guys are welcome to celebrate your holidays however you want to in your downtime.
Okay.
I didn't know what the hell is the Feast of the Moon?
James is just flexing his calendar knowledge.
I'm just reading off the calendar. Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now too.
He's like,
Ugh.
no.
You missed a holiday.
Because technically, if it's starting to get wintry again, it's like December or
It's like
Nightal or whatever.
Yeah, Uktar or Nightal. Remember how I said it's all wibbly wobbly, so don't worry too much about it.
It's cold.
It's cold. I wanted to set the scene. Coldness. Ice. So, the 3 of you kind of settle back into the keep at Greywall and begin getting back into the swing of things. Zex, you've already had a little bit of time to acclimate since your journey off into the high sands. But one day, I know that Zex is going to approach Rem, and you're welcome to dictate how that happens.
A couple days after we get back, Zex will approach Rem. I guess I'll knock on his door. I don't really know what he's doing now that we're back in Greywall. Or if he's even at the keep during the day.
During the day, probably not. But on this particular day, we'll say yes.
Okay. Either that or I can just do it in the evening after you've got back. So I'll knock on the door. Door to Rem's room, if he's in there.
I'll just exit. I'll just walk out the door. What do you need?
I was planning on making a trip back to Ashtar, and I wondered if you wanted to come with me.
Why?
I'm mostly looking for advice, and thought you might have some useful insights.
Do you want advice from me?
Sort of. Is that a problem?
It's uncommon. You've
These
never
are
asked me for any
uncommon
advice, ever.
These are uncommon times.
Are they truly, though?
Maybe. I don't know.
Very well. At your leisure.
Alright, tomorrow?
Sounds good to me.
Alright.
Until I need to start describing stuff, I'm going to have you narrate it. Zex.
Okay, cool. So go to bed, wake up tomorrow, I'll go to Rem's room, eat breakfast, and then you already know the location we're teleporting to, so, and I don't know what it looks like, so now you get to describe something. Do I need to roll again for teleportation?
I am going to change my spells.
You do
Because
not.
it would be really funny if I messed this
You
one
don't
up.
have an associated object, so
I do not.
He has the trauma,
the
I would say
trauma
I'm
is not an object. The trauma is
very
an experience.
familiar,
but he bears
Yeah,
it like
very
one.
familiar.
but like it already messed up once, so
Mhm.
now we get to go again. Oh no, we're good. 53.
Okay. The two of you meet, and it's always a little bit weird of just like, hey, do we just like, now or not? And so Rems just steps out of his room into the hallway, closes the door, and the two of you teleport. It immediately goes from kind of the warm inside of the house to this chill, kind of filling both of your guys' lungs. The two of you are on a bit of a rocky ridge. This granite sloped overhang. Zex, you know that to the south of this overhang leads further on into, at the very least, where the warg breeding grounds, where the different types of ranches and herds that your tribe worked for did, those where they were from. That's where that leads to. But to the north, and not very much to the north, as you kind of instinctively turn around. You can see this overhang slides and looks down upon a graveyard. Rem, what you can see is large, plain slabs of stone set into the earth. Hundreds of unmarked slabs. It looks like it could host generations here, as some of these rocks are covered in wear. Some of them are broken, some of them are nicked, and others are what you would call more pristine than others, but all of them share their anonymity. Zex, it doesn't matter that there is no names, as almost kind of willed by a force of your own, you kind of put your right foot forward and begin slowly sliding down the granite, it kind of chipping away into gravel, making a odd but strangely comforting shearing sound to you as you begin to descend into the grave site of your tribe. Each of these graves are beginning to become covered in a light layer of snow, and they're already covered in a layer of frost. The air itself here has that northern frigidness to it, where if you breathe in too quickly, you run the risk of freezing your tongue. Your eyes sort of sting, Zex, as you begin descending further and further with the slide, the momentum, the wind pushing the cold into your eyes. But it feels natural. For someone who has become so adapted to heat, Ashar is a continent of extremes. And so you're no stranger to both extreme cold and extreme heat. As you slide down. Rem?
I am gingerly following his lead on my broom.
Okay. The scraping sound stops, Zex, as you hit the bottom where it levels out into this almost wicked maze of stone slabs, all at coming up to about your waist height. You began kind of walking through. It was smaller the last time you were here. Then again, you didn't expect it to shrink any. Rem, you watch Zex kind of weave between different stones, glancing at some and paying no mind to others, before he comes probably about 5 rows deep, moving out onto the edge of one. The top of this slab has been struck off, breaking into fragments and scattering on the ground where no one's bothered to clean up the mess. But around the base of it, there is what you would call, Rem, a small identifier. There's what looks like metallic strings that have been placed, buried into the dirt, almost so far and so well covered that you yourself can barely see it. But you've arrived, Zex.
All right. Once he gets to the gravesite, he will slowly, just to be safe, he's going to pull out the Hood of Darkness and put that on.
Okay.
And then he'll turn to Rem and begin describing basically where they are, which is, he'll say, this is the gravesite of my mentor, Galen Orion. He trained me originally to do what I do. It's obviously been a while since I was last here, and I wanted to visit. I'm not much for prayers personally, but if you would say something, I would appreciate it. And Zex is going to just slowly sit down in front of the gravestone.
But before I say anything, I am going to examine this gravesite a bit more in depth. You said there were metal strings of some description all over it. What are these?
They're instrument strings.
And you said his gravestone is like cracked, like
The top,
as an old or defaced?
the top part of it looks like it has been knocked off with a blunt object and shattered.
Okay. Could I piece it back together with stone shape?
You are certain. You are welcome to try.
I was intending on fixing it after, because mending would definitely work for this. The bits are small enough that I can just do mending over and over again to put it back together.
I could potentially put it all back together all at one time with stone shape.
Okay.
And it's very simple, just carved rock. So, the DC's not high necessarily.
I guess I will attempt to put it back together with stone shape.
Okay. Because this is a spell you're casting, we're going to use your wisdom modifier. Just roll me a wisdom check.
Is something kicking back at me?
No, this is just to maneuver it into the way you want. Nothing otherworldly is kicking back. This is just to make it look right.
Because I've only used stone shape in like quick and dirty ways.
Mm-hmm. You don't want a lumpy mess
24.
on top. Yep. Zex, as you're just kind of sitting, allowing snow to gather on your shoulders, you hear the sound of Rem shifting and moving past you, picking up the bits of stone, and as they connect with his hands, they begin almost turning to putty. As he pulls it and stretches, gathering them all into this section of rock, probably about half a foot long and several inches thick, before gently placing it on top, and you watch the stone kind of mend with this thin, almost imperceivable line. restoring the grave headstone.
And these instrument strings, is there like, are there remnants of the instrument it came from, or is it just like loose strings?
It is loose strings partially buried.
I will just make sure those are like fully buried down instead of like protruding, things like that.
Okay.
And while I'm doing this, I am going to usher Zex to come and assist me with it, and we're going to just clean the general area. Not by magic, but by hand. It has to be done by hand.
Okay.
Of course. There's many bits and pieces, from loose stone to broken cups to bits of metal shavings to pieces of leather. There was a lot of things that may or may not have transpired here. The stories that have happened here are probably just as numerous as the amount of stories these bodies have taken to the grave with them. But it's from a people mostly unknown to you, Rem, and by a people that you are doing your best to forget, Zex. You're welcome to take as long as you want. But it probably takes about 20 or so minutes before both of you have a sizable amount of rubbish in your clutches.
In my home, where I hail from, there are many rites that are done somewhat universally. Not everyone shares the same faith, but everyone deserves the same respect. So, in my home, we clean all graves by hand, no magical influence, as a sign of reverence for those that cannot clean their own stones. It is up to us as the living to show them this courtesy. You say you aren't much for prayer, but prayer is a more complex thing than you would assume. Prayers are not just wishes to gods for strength or peace or things of that nature. Prayer is something that we can do in the hopes that our words will reach our loved ones. And no God has anything to do with that, if that's what you choose to do. Prayer is complex. It could be seen as a form of meditation, a form of reverence, a form of respect, a form of discipline. So, with that in mind, I can only provide them the finer respects that I could provide to any person that I did not know. But if what we are doing now is the nature of the advice that you want from me, I suggest you speak your piece first.
I don't know what to say. I've been here so many times since he died. I used to come here to think and wonder why it happened. But I've said my piece uh, a few times already. So this time I think I'll just stay silent and um, meditate, I guess, as you would say. And then Zex will get down on his knees and close his eyes and just sort of meditate.
I wanted to stock up on incense from my home to take back with me. I will light just a bit of it now, and we'll work out what I purchased exactly later. But I will light some of it now and begin my personal interpretation of prayer.
How long do you both think you spent at the gravesite?
My prayer wraps up rather quickly, but I will sit here in silence as long as Zex does.
Zex will probably sit here for right around 10 minutes. And then once he's finished, he's going to stand up and pull out of the bag of holding a staff that he's had for a while. He's going to pull out the staff of flowers. And in succession, he'll use 5 charges to make a sort of bouquet of daisies. A group of daisies basically pop up on the gravesite.
As you can see, anchoring themselves into the earth in a ring surrounding the head of the gravestone. The 5 of them spring forth and claim their territory.
Once that is done, Zex will turn to Rem. Now for the advice.
Okay?
Like I said before, I used to come here quite often and use this as a place to think and reflect after he died. And now I'm lost again and thought this might be a chance for me to do so again. I don't know where to go or what to do. It seems like the Ascended have just vanished. I recently learned a couple months ago that Abra's duel was not not making her own decisions. At that point, he will pull out the book as well, the journal with the claw mark on the front of it, and hand it over to Rem. She was being basically blackmailed by Lackham. Lackham forced her out of the Lost City, commanded her to take up a position outside Greywall and just be a threatening presence with no intention to attack the city. And then proceeded to make the offer of either kill us or remain there for as long as Lackham decided she should stay. And so we killed an ancient dragon. Not even an ancient dragon, just a creature who had no choice but to be where they were at that time and do what they were told, or else be killed. And now they're gone and the Ascended are gone, and I don't know where to go anymore. I can't come back here, and while I'm connected in Papihos, it's not the same.
It's hard not having an idea of home, isn't it? It's hard to look at the world and feel like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. I understand that. In regards to specifically that, just having a place. When you no longer have a place, you find yourself in a similar situation as Dragon. You're forced. You sit where other people will allow you to be. When you lose your sense of, the word's not solidarity. When you lose your sense of foundation, it can be hard to reclaim that feeling, rather where it initially was. But more often than not, the best thing to do is to make a place in which you feel at home, to create foundation. When you say, I'll draw the comparison once more, that Abrostul had no choice, that she had been displaced under threat of death. But in her own way, she had her choice. The advice I can give you is small but effective. That if the place where you were brought into the world no longer suits you, your options are to feel pushed out of the world and removed from it, or to make your own place. You get what I mean? It's not the most dynamic advice. You could get it from anybody, but I do think it is the most effective. As far as the Ascended, I wouldn't assume that they're gone. And it is at this moment that I am going to use Dispel Magic and determine it to be a divination spell, and basically just be under the assumption that within the range there's a scrying happening here.
So you're just counteracting a scry.
A scry that I'm assuming to be here, but have no confirmation that it is.
All right. And kind of with that, Zex, you can see Rem's symbol just kind of light up, and a small but potent thrum of divine energy just kind of move outwards, kind of encompass both of you. And the moment it kind of brushes the snow that was gathering on your shoulders.
To start over again would mean being alone again. I don't want to be alone again.
Would you say you've made no friends along the way? Would you say that you've found no sense of community this whole time? I know.
You consider us friends, Rem?
Would you? Genuinely, would you? We won't go into the gritty of our odds and ends, but we've stuck together so far, haven't we? Counts for something. You know, somebody will listen to you. That's not entirely alone. You've built your ability as a scholar with this society we didn't even know existed. You've made a place in that aspect. Being alone again does not mean that you will be alone forever. Being alone isn't even inherently a bad thing. It is just another part of the transitions we go through in life. The only beings that don't change are the ones that don't have the ability to change because it was taken from them. Because they are no longer here. As long as you draw breath, you will transition and you will change. And you have to take each and every one of those in stride. Do you feel regret for how the dragon was treated? Do you feel guilty?
Of course I feel guilty. I feel immense guilt over how that turned out now with this information.
But at the time, you went with everything you had. In the moment that, that everything transpired, the only thing you could do was go by what you knew. That something beyond us was going to hurt us and that you had to stop it. I won't tell you that you shouldn't feel guilty, and I won't tell you that it's not valid. But I will tell you that you didn't do the great wrong that you think you've done. Learning things later is just a part of life. The one that should feel guilt is Lackham for displacing, threatening, and cornering the dragon. That's not your burden to carry. It's theirs. Lackham will show their face again. The Ascended have lived longer than all of us. They wouldn't just disappear because we had a few weapons. Especially not under the pretense of which we got most of them. I fully believe there's something more coming. And in the pursuit of making your own way in the world, you have put yourself on the forefront of that. And at least until the end of it, you'll have those around you. Whether we like it or not, we have been wrapped up in the mission. And we must see it to the very end.
What about after?
You enjoy the fruits of your labors. You go back to the keep. You pursue different forms of knowledge. You meet new people. You live your life. And then you die. That's it. All moments in life are grand in their own way. No one can exist at the highest of highs without seeing the lowest of lows. And the middling parts that are through the rest of it. When the mission is done, you find a new one, and you enjoy the time in between. There's lots more to do in this world than be wrapped up in the fate of a mission that we stumbled across. We are not in our entirety a byproduct of our circumstances. And it seems to me that that's what you're interpreting yourself as, a byproduct of your circumstance, not an active participant of it. I'm sorry if it's not the advice that you wanted.
No, I appreciate you coming here and talking to me.
What else would I do? Tell you no and to figure it out alone? If I'd let you do that, you would just come to the same conclusion again, wouldn't you? You wouldn't ask for advice if you didn't need it.
And with that, Vex will stand up and hold out his hand to Rem. And assuming Rem takes it, Zex will say, "Thank you. Ever since I found this book, I've been more lost than I've ever been before. And coming here and having you help me has helped me get a little bit of perspective. And hopefully now I'll be able to move on and keep living."
There is one more thing that we can do. If you'd like.
Okay.
When the dragon was disintegrated, her ash just fell across the entire field, didn't it?
Coding, yeah.
And there was nothing left. She has no more physical things outside of this book, does she?
Probably not, no.
Let's go to the cave.
Okay. Zex will cast teleport to the cave.
Both of you kind of taking in a breath. Both of you whisked back, and just like that, the cold, the bitter chill that you two have slowly been acclimating to is kind of ripped away into the drier cold of still something southern more as both of you appear at the cave entrance for the World Eater.
Has it been slowly being cleared out over time? The ash and things like that, because no more is being produced, or is this entire place just dormant now?
the actual physical cave itself,
Mhm.
dormant. People haven't been apt to approach the cave of the World Eater, regardless of the World Eater being gone.
Let's go. And I'm going in. I guess Zex can sit on the broom with me so that we don't have to trudge through the ash.
All right. Where are you heading to?
I'm gonna go to the chamber with the prismatic wall where that was.
Mm-hmm. The chamber is still how you left it. The ash, the only section of ash that has been cleared away as it was teleported by the arbiters, overlooking the stone overhang, or not overhang, the stone hill that housed the more valuable treasures of Abrazdul's hoard. And with it, a beautiful prismatic wall that gives the room a shine. Just as you left it.
At the bottom of this hill, I am going to use stone shape once more to, in essence, create a tombstone of sorts.
Okay.
A marker as best as I can. I can't make intricate shapes with it. So the best I'm probably going to get is like an obelisk.
That's perfectly fine.
I can make a door, I can make an obelisk.
Mm-hmm.
I can't mark it, so I will proposition Zex to say that if he would like to carve something into it, he's more than welcome to do that, but it is beyond my means to do that. And
No, I don't think carving will be necessary. I don't think I actually have the means to do that.
your blacksmithing stuff.
Oh, yes.
You
I
probably need
suppose.
stonemason stuff, but
Yeah.
we'll leave it be. I'm assuming that I've handed off the book back to him. I'm not holding on to it.
Okay.
And I will, light my incense in here once more and explain to him. When we find ourselves lost without the guidance of people that have left us, you do as you have done before. We go to where we connect with them and we appeal to them in some way. The same can also be true for those that we think we have wronged. She may have had her burdens, and she did the best she could with the choices she had. But if you find yourself lost, particularly in regards to the dragon, this is your place to say your piece. And I'm going to leave him alone in the chamber and get out of earshot in case he wants to say something out loud. I would attempt a vibe check to figure out how he's feeling. If he allows me to, I will vibe check him.
You're welcome to do whatever you would like.
vibe check. 29.
He is still pretty raw from what we just did in the graveyard in Ashtar. But mostly he looks grateful for getting this sort of opportunity.
I'm gonna leave the room and let him do his thing. I am no longer in earshot.
Zex will step forward and sort of place a hand on the obelisk. And then he will say, while in most cases you didn't have a choice, I can imagine you still probably did some terrible things. But I am sorry for the way that this had to turn out. I'm sorry that we had to snuff you out and that we chose to do so without all the information. I hope that now you're in a place just as good as where you wanted to be back in your home in Ashtar. And then Zex will take his hand off the obelisk and leave. And begin walking out of the chamber.
The room itself, regardless of the prismatic light, feels empty walking out. Being able to talk, to say it out loud, it does put a warm feeling within your chest. And you walk out. Meet up with Rem outside of the room.
Are you ready to make our way back to Greywall?
Any other advice you'd like?
You know, I think we covered it all.
At your leisure.
And Zex will take a minute to cast Teleportation Circle.
Easy enough. With that, a sound of arcane magic echoes throughout the now empty cave of the World Eater, leaving behind memories and a memorial of your own design by Rem, and filled with thought by Zex. And the two of you return to Greywall. I'm going to submit a bit of a bit of a last call. And what I mean is if the three of you have nothing you want to explicitly talk through, we're going to go to near the end of our time skip.
Okay, so this is last call right now?
This is last call.
Okay, maybe a couple weeks after this, we can do medicine check stuff again real quick, since that was the plan after Rem got back.
Okay. Medicine checks and Suna. Anything from you?
Nope.
Okay. You sound like you're panicking a little bit, James. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. That's the last thing, unless anything comes of it.
All
Unless
my
I
other
can somehow
stuff.
figure extra stuff out.
No. It does come along with the next few days, Zex, of that warm feeling in your chest. It doesn't go away. This not painful, but ever-present, almost coal in your... right between your heart and lungs, just the center of your chest. And having already sought help, you figure, what's the harm in seeking help for something a little bit different? A little bit more approachable, I may dare say. You may continue on how you want to approach it.
Approach the checking this out.
Mm-hmm.
So we already tried medicine checking earlier, right?
Mm-hmm. Like several months ago, yeah.
Right. So we can... I'll go and ask Rem if he's willing to try again. To see if anything's changed, and if nothing comes of that. I wouldn't know anyone who knows anything about anything like this, right?
No, not particularly.
Did we do Arcana checks last time?
Mm-hmm.
How are you approaching me with this? What are you describing to me?
So how was it described last time? We had the scales along the back and arms, and
I mean, what sensations are you experiencing?
a warmness in my chest, indicating the region.
Where you had the hole?
Is it? I don't know. I don't know exactly where the hole was. Out of character, I don't know exactly where in Zex's chest the hole was.
And this was the hole caused by just making...
Leomund.
Yeah. Not Leomund's hole. This... No, not generally. There is still a bit of a scar there, but it doesn't feel like it's directly related to that. No.
Okay. So no then, not where I got hit in the chest in a hole and stuff.
Okay. I will guide myself and perform another medicine check.
All right.
I may know some things.
Sounds good.
I know maybe some things. 14.
14. Well, this is still a bit similar to last time, although it's a little bit more overt, Rem. Zex's skin is thicker. Like, physically thicker. A little bit coarser as well. And you can see just like the ever slight impressions of a scaled pattern in his red skin. Contained majority around the chest, but there's a little bit overflow from his shoulders onto his arms, but it doesn't come past like a farmer's tan. The chest is slightly warm to the touch. You can feel it. It's not something it's not something naturally occurring, that's for sure.
This
And
isn't a fever or eczema.
no. He's not operating under the same ways that someone would be if they had those afflictions. He looks fine. He's acting fine. It's just there are these effects.
Okay. I will guide myself once more, and with my newfound experience dealing with magical blockages, I will attempt to sense something beyond.
All right.
Inspire me, why don't you?
Throw you an inspiration if you'd like.
We're gonna hit him with an Arcana check.
Absolutely.
Oh my god!
It's a 2.
Oh my god!
Now it's a 3.
That is 19, 21, 29, 37?
That's pretty good. You have grown way more accustomed to dealing with magical ailments through Suna, through yourself, and now kind of looking into Zex. It's been a long time, but this core of heat that you're picking up from Zex, only because you two returned to where it now still shines, ever present, a full blemish in Papihos. The heat is very similar in feeling to the light that radiates off of the one piece of arcane influence that Abrazdul left on the world. And you connect that. One of the 5 of you went through that arcane wall. When people are subjected to a massive influx of power and against the odds survive, there very well could be a chance that it, in a way, rubs off on them.
What's the word I'm looking for? Not quite a blessing, not quite a curse, not quite an affliction, not quite an addition. Byproduct, I guess is the best word. your change of condition is a byproduct of the mass I'm blanking on the word. Uh it's not subjective. It's like with radiation poisoning. Exposure. Exposure. The mass exposure of powerful and different magics has, in some way, in a weird way, resonated within you. You are experiencing a change with the dragon's magic as a catalyst. I can't tell you any more than that. I can tell you that it probably won't kill you, and I can tell you that it's not something that I can remove at this time.
Okay.
I would leave it be for now, and we will continue to monitor any changes you have for the next coming months.
Sounds like a plan. And with that, I guess Zex will leave.
All right.
There is one thing I can do
Absolutely.
just to before we hop right back into the shit show.
Mm-hmm.
A long time ago, I assisted a man by bringing him back from eternity, and I was worried that his brain was fried.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go visit O'Brien to make sure that he is in top condition and that his brain is in fact not fried while I'm in the medicinal mood.
That's perfectly fine. You'd be able to find O'Brien at the Mages Guild himself. As since Jade has kind of pulled back from being reassembling the Fighters Guild for the time being, everyone's kind of become closer with the two guilds merging under Jaylene's watchful eye. The biggest thing, the biggest drawback of this is that those in the Fighters Guild were always used to more space. And what you come back to and enter in is this kind of small group of people, his faces that you recognize across the board. Kylene is watching, Core is watching, and Tara is standing over as you are able to look through their legs and see a Dragonborn in half plate, the amazing O'Brien, and a very, very sweaty, very, very hard-working half-orc by the name of Tyron. The two of them are currently seeing who can do more push-ups in one in one go. As you can hear, the only person truly engaged in it is Core, and he's giving this kind of coaching advice to both of them, kind of swapping back and forth between encouraging one, belittling the other, and then vice versa, all in the span of 30 seconds. Then you can still see that Tara and Kylene are watching. Tara more through like vague, feigning disinterest, and Kylie more for just kind of being worried about the two of them. But as Tara, being extremely observant, kind of almost notices you somehow entering the building, and you can see her kind of put up a hand in a very quick hello gesture before putting it down and continuing a low conversation with Kylene.
I will make my way over to them and allow them to continue their contest.
All right. The competition kind of keeps going in the background, with O'Brien actually currently outperforming Tyron at the moment. You can see O'Brien still doing very, very precise up and down motions, going about maybe just maybe if Tyron's going at normal speed, O'Brien's going about 1.5. As you kind of join the group of onlookers, and Tara kind of looks down at you, and it's a pleasure to see you here. How has your day been going, Rem?
A day is a day. Nothing new to report.
Oh, there's always something new to report for this entrance. Pointless competitions between boys. And kind of looks down, and you can see Cordial. You're doing great. You're doing great. Down, up, down, and you can see for a second O'Brien just gets slow, and it gives Tyron a bit more confidence and almost a second wind as he begins going faster. It's ridiculous, but you can't stop him.
It's a matter of pride.
Oh, it keeps them busy and tires them out. Honestly, I should
Boys
be thinking of
being
being a deal.
I, just by observing him, is there anything different with him in regards to his behavior that I've seen before? From what I'm outwardly observing now, no, nothing. Any motor issues, anything like that?
You can make a medicine check on that. The glorious medicine check.
I will not be guided this time. Because why not? 21.
21. He looks in perfect health. And it is true that you guys kind of left very suddenly after reviving him, kind of leaving him and Jade to their own devices, but Jade has gone somewhere, and he's been remaining under the watchful eye of Jaylene, and he looks right as rain.
How's his mental state then?
Oh, he's still an idiot.
Beyond that, I mean, lapses in memory, moments of confusion, anything out of the ordinary.
I think some part of his brain blotted out, his demise. I figure that's an apt response, though. Other than that, I haven't heard him talk at all about forgetting things. He's been, I guess, normal. I can't imagine a lot of people would want to talk about their death.
In my instance, I couldn't. For a while after, I was having troubles with speech, which is why I came to check on him.
It took him through a bit of a ringer, but he's, as far as I can tell, at the very least, he's fine. The only person I think you should trust more than myself or Tyron on that issue is probably your own friend. I haven't seen Gil in a while, actually.
Actually don't know where he is.
Off doing something. Oh well, if you're not worried, I'm not worried.
Seems fine to me.
When he loses this, you're welcome to talk to him, but this is going to go on for a while.
I will leave them to it. It seems like everyone here has get along well. I won't bring down the mood with my presence. Don't allow me to do that.
You think yourself too much of a mood killer, Rem.
If I'm not being stopped as I'm heading out, I'm gonna egg them on by casting Bless on both of them before I leave, just to have them get that extra little taste of the sun.
The extra little taste of the sun. You cast Bless.
It'll last for a minute.
And it lasts for a minute. As I'm gonna roll a quick thing.
If it's a saving throw, it's a D4. If it's attack roll, it's also a D4.
That's actually perfect. That's actually so good. As you cast a spell and it lights up kind of their hands and their muscles, and both of them get distracted by it. With a 1 for Tyron and a 2 for O'Brien, and both of them slip out and slam each other in the back. As both of them fall over, you can hear the kind of ruffled, the roar of Tyron as he gets caught up in the moment and the adrenaline of it, and you just hears Tyron go, "Fuck!" as O'Brien just kind of scuttles to his feet. That's a good fight, mate. That's great. And grabs and picks up, and the two of them, breathing heavily and sweating, both kind of clasp hands, and you can kind of hear the chuckling coming from both Core and Tara as you leave. That's great. All right. So, with the last call done, I'm gonna explain a couple things that happen. The days go by easily. Through Rem, basically. The three of you are able to hone in on the whereabouts of the other two members of your group. Nime insists that she's doing well, and she's excited to bring a guest when she returns. Gilgamesh is doing fine, and Rem, you can even swear that you could hear almost a satisfied edge to the Dragonborn's voice. The three of you continue on a bit day to day. Rem, you find yourself going up to the castle, assisting mostly Varder, as he is happy to take on the help. Suna, this tutelage with Roxy, after you previously had performed, quote-unquote, in front of a crowd, there begins to be days where Roxy's mother begins attending her sessions more and more. At first, she's just there to kind of smile and nod her head along, not talking much. But eventually, she begins bringing like this small notepad, and a quill, very fancy, silver-lined, and scratches, making notes in a notebook. Zex, you focus on yourself, things that feel off. Not necessarily wrong, but off in both your body and mind. The coarser skin comes with a little bit of advantage. You find that accidentally striking things with your body, your skin almost blocks the blow slightly. There's a weird almost comfort you take in the added protection and what you begin experimenting with possible additional power. But the town in Greywall and life in Papihos continues a steady march forward. Until we get to a month before an anniversary, which is very important in all 5 of your lives. The anniversary of the day the World Eater fell. While this day might have a bittersweet taste in some of your mouths, for the city of Greywall, it is a massive relief and a massive cause for celebration. Before this month, people began talking rumors that this was going to be a celebration of survival and perseverance and power. And as Suna and Rem continued to talk to the Princess of Papihos and the main organizer of the kingdom, it becomes evident to the two of you that there will be a festival held on the day of. A statue unveiled, finished finally,
Oh no.
and a ceremony dedicated to those who gave their lives and defeated the dragon. But the reason I call out a month beforehand is because on this day, the 3 of you are invited to a called small dinner at Greywall Castle. You guys have been given plenty of notice, about half a week, to prepare if you wanted to dress, get yourselves in order. But all 3 of you have been requested for an audience.
And
Do
we
I
don't
have nice clothes?
You guys had nice clothes from the last time you went.
Oh, nice clothes.
we should have nice clothes.
Mhm.
I'll wear my nice clothes.
And just to make sure invitations don't arrive for Gil or Nime.
They arrive for you 3.
Nothing.
Oh no, guys, we're in trouble.
Oh no.
Probably.
Oh no.
I'll leave all my shit at home except for the voice.
Okay.
I'm
And
fleeing the country.
I will wear that nice 3-piece suit that I got from the
Does-
last time we had to do this shit.
Stylish.
Does my mantle go with my nice clothes?
I mean, it's beautiful in its more dormant form without the spiked shoulders.
I can vibe with that.
You could pass it off. There might be some people who raise eyebrows, but you should be fine.
Okay.
Rem?
It's a question I had in passing, but magical items change size to suit the needs of the person they're with, right?
They change size to match the size of the person they're with.
Yeah.
So if it's a sword, if a giant grabs it, it will grow to be suitable for the giant, and vice versa.
Could I make the shield smaller? Or is it just stuck at the size that is appropriate for me?
It is stuck at the size that is appropriate, but it is also, all of these weapons can double as extremely ornate pieces. You just have to manipulate your outfit a little bit to accommodate for it. They can double as dress weapons.
I'll bring my shield with me.
Okay. So, with a little bit of panic, a little bit of planning, and possibly a little bit of dread, the three of you prepare, and together you all come to Greywall Castle. There is an escort waiting for you all of 2 guards in dress uniforms, as you are all led to I would say medium size for the castle, but it still counts as a very large dining hall. As you can see, at this, there's this basically large, long table, and there are basically cards set at each seat. There is a spot marked for you, Rem, as well as Zex, as well as Suna. You all are set next to each other in that order.
Can I look at all of the other names and see who's supposed to be here?
Sure. The biggest thing that you can see is that the side of the table you all have been set on is the right face from the head of the table. The setup of where the three of you are going, Suna, you are, of course, sitting with Zex to your right-hand side. However,
Okay.
To your left, towards the head of the table, it is labeled with the actual title for the High Princess of Greywall. Roxy is sitting to your left.
Okay.
Zex is in between Suna and Rem. And Rem, you are sitting next to Varder. Down the line, you can see, in basic order of Varder, Yenta, going down the ambassadors on one side, where then it curves, and you can see at the foot of the table, you begin seeing the Master of Evocation, the Master of Abjuration, the Arbiters, going up the other side of the table. And then at the head of the table is the High King, and sitting to his left is his wife's chair. There's a lot of powerful people at this table. And in the worst possible way for all of you, you three are the first to arrive.
bit.
The table itself is not set with any food. Just large, empty placeholders for where the dishes will go. However, there are glasses set aside, and you can see at either end of the room there are staff, there are servants that are currently carrying large pitchers. What do the three of you do?
I'm gonna eye these servers a little bit. Are these the servants that we're used to?
You yourself and probably Suna have probably seen these servants at multiple times throughout your months at the castle. These are not new servants.
Do I particularly recognize anybody?
Either of the servants?
Do I think one of the servants is not actually a servant and is pretending?
Oh,
I'm insight checking.
I understand. Yes, you two may roll insight checks.
Fuck, man, fuck!
Do you want inspiration?
16.
If it's within your heart to do that, it might be relevant here.
Yeah, sure. My passive is high enough to notice you doing something, I would think, so.
Fuck, bro. I don't deserve this.
Okay, you've been inspired. Roll the d10
that's
at
hilarious.
That'll work. 17. I nat 1.
Nice. Okay.
God.
Suna?
16.
Both of these servants look fine. They are both servants that you recognize and do not believe are someone else pretending to be someone you recognize.
No one here has a gun.
Someone has a gun. He does have a Glock on him.
Oh shit!
To be honest though, I forgot to state a little bit that I was gonna say it when all five of you were here, but it is now technically, I think at this point, standard that part of the Greywall Guard's kit is a flare gun made by Jensen.
Cool.
Oh.
Ever since the
cool.
dragon attack, and him basically sourcing them out to officers and people aboard the airship, it caught on, and he has, instead of being a mercenary for the past 5 months, he has a small group of people building flare guns under his name.
An engineer.
Yes.
He's an entrepreneur.
He's an entrepreneur.
He still has my fucking shrinking
He
potion.
still has the shrinking
If you guys share your concerns, Zex can cast Trucing as people enter, because it lasts for like a full hour.
It feels odd that we're the only
Oh,
ones
don't
here.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It wasn't that big a deal.
We should do the thing.
I think if even like in the minute that you guys are like panicking and looking, the door does open and you can see Varder and Selvin kind of enter through. The two of them, Varder actually kind of shedding his vest that you guys see him normally wear for a bit more defined, like light gray suit, and Selvin having her Asimir air kind of pulled up into a bun and wearing a like cream-ish colored dress. There he goes. And it seems that a few of you did not want to miss the date. Pleasure. I hope the invitations got to you all with enough time to prepare. Dinner can be daunting in the Greywall Castle.
Daunting certainly is a word to use.
Yeah.
I suppose I should ask, what's this all about?
As he explains, he actually pulls out the chair for Selvin, and she sits down, and he kind of scoots her in before pulling out his own chair. Oh, it is a bit of a discussion of plans for the festival in a month's time, and we had a request for the three of you to be present. There is a decision that the three of you need to be a part of. It is not my place to spoil it. And he's got a grin on his face.
What about the other two?
The other two have been contacted, and you can even see him kind of like rubbing the side of his head. They might have been informed before the three of you, actually. They did not need to attend. They know that they are wanted for the festival itself. This is festival adjacent. We'll put it that way.
I do want to make an insight check.
Okay.
Oh, well, basically nothing. That's an 11.
Yeah. Forder actually has some stats in charisma. He's just got that smile.
Okay.
It is a knowing smile, but he is he's not hiding that he's keeping something from you.
Right.
He says, I'm not gonna spoil it.
He's hitting us with the wizards only, fools.
The Riz. But don't laugh at me.
I'm not laughing.
It sounds like you are.
I'm so nervous because if this is the end of downtime, that means something's about to happen.
Yeah, we're getting death flagged.
Yes.
I don't fucking know what that means, homies.
A death flag is like
I'm gonna be real. I don't know what that means.
I'm a week away from retirement.
Ah, gotcha. We are gonna go to more people entering a small, eventful trickle of people. First, we're gonna have Gwen will be the first of the arbiters to arrive. And you can see she kind of smiles and kind of takes her seat. Then the Master of Abjuration, the Master of Evocation, the remaining arbiters filter in transmutation as they all kind of begin taking their seats, and there are some small muted conversations. The Kane, the ambassador of real estate, comes in, and then eventually, finally, to kind of Suna's relief, probably, Princess Roxy enters, and you can see she's wearing this deep, almost like puffed at the bottom dress, and she's putting on a good face for it, Suna, but you know that she does. She's not happy, but she is happy to see you. As she kind of scoots in and gets a glass, and you can see they have both water and wine, and she takes wine that is poured as she kind of begins to drink, and you can see, even though she's kind of shifting around trying to be comfortable in this dress, she's also kind of beaming at you, like proud.
Insight as to why?
Sure.
Like, what? I'll give myself a D4. Oh, fuck. 21?
21. She very obviously knows why the three of you are here.
Something feels off.
And she's very excited.
got any hints for what's going on?
You? And she kind of leans in and whispers in your ear, you might get to decide a few very important things. A couple.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. Normally, you don't get to decide. And I was able to make sure we sat next to each other. So, that's cool. Shh.
The motivations for that. Oh, man.
It's only right that a Lady of Greywall sits next to her tutor. Because I am a Lady of Greywall. And you can see she still doesn't like the title, but she appreciates that she's able to use it as a workaround.
Am I hearing this?
You two can make... I'll see. If you two want to make perceptions, you can. If not, I'll just use your stupidly high passives.
I'm
Does-
on edge. I'll make perception check.
Sure.
Oh, 17. Lower than my passive.
I'll use my passive.
You're just using your
Mine's
passive?
a 20.
For 20? I'm sorry, Zex.
Yeah, I know. If I just used my passive, it would have been fine.
You definitely would have been fine if you just used your passive. So, Rem,
It's
you can
fine.
overhear this.
Can I whisper to the princess and say, is that why I'm sitting next to Vidair? Because I'm also a Lady of Greywolf? Just to be jovial about it.
She kind of like pulls back from Suna. You can see her kind of hold her breath and her cheeks kind of flush a little bit. Nope. Mm-mm. And in that,
I guess I'm not a lady. Damn.
with that, you can hear two of the doors open and all of the conversation kind of stops. As flanked by 4 guards in dress, the High King and High Queen of Papihos enter. The two of them in regal, deep purple, gold, and black dress and large cloak and coat, respectively. He leads her over as the two of them are holding hands. Stops, lets go of her hand, pulls out the chair for her, and allows her to sit, not allowing the guards to do it for him. Where then he pushes in his wife and moves to the head of the table, pulling out his own chair and sitting himself. And with that, this elven man, his kind of dirty blonde hair pulled back behind his crown, looks over, and then his stoic face breaks into a bit of a warm smile. There is no need for this stoicism. We are all among friends and allies here. Please. First, congratulations to 3 people who have been invited to this dinner. A little bit unorthodox, and unfortunately, with my sincerest apologies, half a week late. And you can hear a couple chuckles come, Vardair kind of being the loudest of that. However, we have to make sure that we are being accurate, precise, and miss no details. I can see in kind of his eyes pass over each of you. I can see that we are causing you great discomfort by bringing you in like this, and honestly, I'd stop it if it wasn't so much fun to do. However, we should not be throwing heroes of our continent and nation into the throes of uncertainty. So, in the prospect of being a good and gracious host, I shall make the announcement that the three of you were requested here for, and then we shall celebrate and eat. As I'm sure the three of you know, there will be a festival of the World Eater in a month from now. There will be a ceremony to pay respects to you and those who survived alongside you from the resulting battles. And of course, thanks and awards that we could muster will be given out. However, in memory to those who were lost in the battle, there is the unearthing of the memorial that will happen. The first is a question and an invitation. Unfortunately, the other two members of your fantastic group were not able to attend. However, this is an invitation to all five of you, if you so wish to accept, of being those who stand by us as we unveil the completed memorial to those fallen in battle. I'd be delighted if you stand alongside us. Pauses for a second. My second reason, or should I say our second reason for bringing you here, is once again a question, but also a debate between the three of you. Apologies. As you know, two arbiters were among those who fell in the battle. Those of extreme arcane prowess and proficiency in the kingdom. We have spent the better part of a year looking among those to see who could fill the hole in our ranks. And it is not an ordinary occurrence that there is a oversupply of candidates. We have been watching, and he specifically turns and looks at Suna, and then at Rem, and then at Zex, and noting the feats that all of you have performed under the watchful eye of the kingdom. For the interest of protection of the people, and to the interest you show in our humble kingdom, we would like to extend the option for two of you to take up the mantle of Arbiter. I understand that none of you are masters of divination, as such Ilkewin was, or masters of illusion. However, the ambassadors and the other arbiters have more than agreed that any of the three of you are capable of fulfilling that role. Pauses, and you can see the smile, the glint of his eyes. Suna, you can feel Roxy just kind of almost vibrating next to you. You do not need to answer right now. There is a lot to discuss between the three of you. But, for the moment, we do not celebrate you deciding to be an arbiter, as the choice has and will always be yours. But instead, and he raises a goblet, we celebrate the opportunity that we have to host 3 people worthy of being masters of their craft and protectors of our nation. And you can hear this chorus of people kind of go, "Hear, hear!" And Varder, the arbiters, all of the ambassadors, and Roxy all raise up cups of different glasses of wine, water, refreshments, some of them clinking, some of them just off in the air. And the king almost standing, like leaning up out of his chair and looking up the goblet. To the future, and to those who protect the future. And with that, he completes the toast, and the people around you drink.
Your
Shit.
Majesty.
As all of this is kind of gone, and with this, plates beginning served, and you can see like roast chicken, duck, plates of vegetables, and different things begin kind of moving across, and everything becomes ever so slightly less formal as you kind of lean forward, Rem, and say this, and you can see him kind of look up from his drink as he's taken a deep, deep, deep drag of his goblet. Yes, of course.
I want you to know that even though I am not from here initially, I am more than willing to provide my service to Crown and Country as often as I can. But I must humbly decline your offer.
Those of you with higher perceptions can kind of see a couple of people's faces kind of twist out of the delight, and as they're looking, as everyone's still listening through varying levels of failure and success, pretending to not pay attention to it and be more focused on the food. All 3 of you probably catch Varder kind of... he gets a little bit slower in his grab of dishing himself with roast duck. But the king does not falter in any stride. He goes, "We appreciate your service to the crown, and it is always within your abilities to, if we do not find the ability to fill the space, to come back, but you'll be viewed no differently as an ally and as an honorary member of our humble nation."
I am forever grateful for your consideration and the honor of being considered. And maybe one day my mind shall change. And I'm just going to drink and eat. I'll insight check the people that are looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone that stands out more than others?
Varder very obviously stands out. And it's not hard to read his face. I think he had kind of put it is very obvious now to all of you. These people were all very much in on it. You don't know to what degree or what weight they had in it. But it seemed Varder may have been gunning for you accepting it.
I will gingerly lean in towards Varder and say to him, I'm always happy to help you in everything that you ask for.
I understand.
But unfortunately, some other things in my life may take precedent over my duty to crown and country. And
it is not everyone's prerogative to dedicate their life. I understand. You just would have been very good at it.
maybe you should see my home next Friday and you understand.
I'm sure it's beautiful.
Oh, but I am so inclined to take up the mantle. I truly am. We shall see what the future holds.
And for the next probably 2 hours, you guys are within talking distance of the most powerful people in Papihos. Generally, most of them offer niceties to you, congratulating the three of you for being considered. But besides Roxy, none of them really have. Besides, I guess, Roxy and Yenta. As we've already gone through Vardair, none of them intuitively know you that well.
One of them knows me rather well.
I mean,
If she's here.
of the Arbiters?
Yeah.
Both Gwen, who's the Master of Conjuration, and the Master of Evocation are here. All of the currently living Arbiters are here. The only two that aren't are the two that fell during the battle against the World Eater. All of you have stories with these people. Whether it is appearing before them in criminal court to defend yourselves, or pulling each other's weights through the charred and burned battlefield in the scattered woods. I would like to rephrase myself. There is no one that you don't know here. There are just some that you have gotten to know on a much better level. But if there's no more statements...
I wanted to wait until kind of the dinner, like the party had kind of died down, and like most people had, like a good chunk of people had left to kind of talk to the king and queen.
Of course. As the king, queen, and the princess are going to be of the last ones, as it is just courtesy, as they put it. But a couple of the arbiters, transmutation and abjuration, are the first to leave, citing that they should get back to where they work. Gwen is not too far behind. After that, the ambassadors start leaving one by one. Yenta is actually the last of them to leave. He's still wearing ornate armor. Some habits die hard. Then a few more arbiters shuffle out, with evocation being last to leave. Just giving, almost nodding to herself before leaving. Until it leaves the three of you and the three royals. Of course, there are still guards. There are the 2 servers and the 4 honor guard.
Your Majesty, it's so nice to finally meet you.
I extend my sincerest apologies for everything beforehand being so formal. The nation had been upset, is the kindest of words for me to use. But the 5 of you have been a blessing upon us all. It is my deepest regret, I believe, that I have not been able to personally thank every soul that has done so much when I've been able to do so little. And you can kind of see the queen kind of lean over to him and is like, "Dear, you're still being dreadfully formal." I apologize, I get into a bit of a rut. It is worth noting that Roxy is still being very, very formal herself in front of her parents.
Sure. I wanted to let you know that I would like to take up your offer for a position as arbiter.
Yes, and you can hear that quick yes escape her before she catches herself and kind of clenches her throat. Would be delighted. The arbiters are currently making all necessary preparations. There is no need to take a title, as any of the previously held titles would be erroneous. But we would be delighted for you to work with us.
I look forward to working with you as well.
And the queen leans forward. And I hope you do understand, unfortunately, when you are working certain cases as an arbiter, you will be held to your word to not divulge information to your friends. I understand that they are your friends, but you will be split between 2 different wealths of knowledge.
I understand, and I can handle that task.
Wonderful. We regret to have to do it this way, but the amount of information we have to take in and deal with, anything that gets declassified to the ambassadors, we will be more than happy to make available knowledge to your friends. We are doing this out of necessity, not because we think of ourselves as an exclusive club.
I understand.
Well, I understand that the 3 of you have processed or currently are processing this invitation in your own ways. And I am not the type of man who would press someone into submitting an answer. So instead, I will make sure that you focus on the question Varder asked me to propose of the 5 of you assisting with the grand reveal and completion of the memorial.
I will help.
Thank you. It may be a bit easier to agree or disagree to. It's not nearly as much of a commitment. But regardless of what your answers to either of the questions will be, we are deeply within your debt. Either way. At this point, you can see one of the guards kind of come up and lean over and whisper into the king's ear. My deepest apologies. I have tried my damnedest to be a good host, but like an overworked blacksmith, I must return to my work. I apologize for leaving.
It's all right.
You 3 will receive an official letter for your invitation to assist with the memorial unveiling. You'll be able to answer and respond back to Varder as a... I would like to believe my voice has some sway, and kind of almost chuckling to himself, this man with a nation behind him proposing that he might not have sway to his own voice. But I would hope that in the next week or so, you would be able to get back to Varder, the poor man. He likes things to be proper. I thank you all. Have a good evening. And he pushes himself up, and kind of walks over to his wife, pulling back her chair to let her out, as she kind of she doesn't take his hand, but she kind of hangs one of her hands off of his shoulder, and the 2 of them walk out. With that, you can kind of see Roxy's shoulders kind of slump. Nice. I told him you'd say yes. It's congratulations.
Thank you.
You're all being so quiet. This is a good thing.
Yes, I'm still kind of surprised about it.
Why? You've all done so much for them. It boggles my mind how it took so long for them to see you all as the obvious answer.
Because we're not professionals. We're heroes. Heroes are only exciting when there's a time to need a hero. In times of peace, we have no merit. We're not professionals, just ex-heroes.
It's
Our fame is fleeting.
It's a nation, Rem. There are tens of thousands of people. Something's going to go wrong, and you all are going to be amazing when it does. Look, I know that you guys run very fast. If the amount of time, or should I say the lack of time, I've got to spend being taught is anything to go by, you guys walk at the at the speed people run. But they need people like you all. They carry a know it. Took Gil and didn't kick him out. If he was just a hero, he wouldn't have lasted. Gil allowed himself that chance. Why don't the three of you do?
She doesn't know about Gil, right?
She shouldn't have. Or what do you mean, know about Gil? Like, know where he is?
Know about where he's from.
No. She is referring to, if you guys aren't professionals, the Lord still has jurisdiction over who's the champion.
Yeah.
So if he sucked, what she's saying is if he sucked as a champion, he wouldn't be the champion anymore.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
I'll roll an involuntary perception check to see if she catches, like, a catch of your breath. You're good. But yeah.
Okay.
I'm just like, oh, she knows.
There's like a slight, like, inhale.
It's like quick surprise that you quickly move over. But yes, he's taken a chance on himself. It seems like you're about to. Fleeting won't be the right word. People remember. I know I do.
Does she look at me when she says that?
Remember.
Well, I will leave you both to it. That dinner wine was not enough to satiate my desire. I'm gonna go have a bit more. And I'm gonna get up and leave.
You mind if I join you?
Sure.
Okay, Zex will go and also start drinking.
The kind of halls, the halls kind of echo with both of your footsteps as you leave, and the doors swing back shut to the dining hall. She breathes out, and you can see even around Rem and Zek, she still holds her shoulders a little bit higher up and sits a little bit straighter than she normally does. She lets even more weight kind of off herself. This dress itches. I know it's supposed to be like really fine. It's too expensive. You can feel the money wasted on your skin.
It does look uncomfortable.
My mom likes it. I'm glad you didn't prove me wrong, by the way, about being an arbiter.
Why'd you have a bet going with someone?
No. I was just very confident. Everyone... I don't think anyone bet. Did I miss out on a bet? They wouldn't have...
I don't know.
They wouldn't have even let me bet. Never mind. Look, if there was a bet, I didn't know about it. I was just asked. My mom brought me into a meeting about it. They've been considering it probably like ever since the arbiters were confirmed to be lost. They started thinking about who could. If it makes you feel better, or if you like to know a little bit extra information, Rem is now the second person who has vetoed becoming an arbiter.
Who else turned it down?
Oh, I don't know. Who's a very powerful and very prominent magic person in Greywall.
Barris?
She said she has no interest in being out in the field.
That sounds like Barris.
No. But we'll have to see about Zex. He seemed frozen.
He did. I feel like normally he would jump at something like this, but
I don't know. Well, I'm just glad that all of you are getting the recognition you deserve.
I guess I'm still not quite used to the feeling, I guess.
Well, you've got a month to get used to it.
I think I can pull that off.
I know you can. Look, it's late enough for me to use it as an excuse, and more importantly, I've never heard Zex when I've heard him be that quiet. You should... You're a little bit worthies. Better check in on your fellow one.
I will. We've been so busy before now. I haven't really had a chance to sit down with him, but after tonight, I am a little bit worried.
Yeah. Well, you know, if all you know how to do is run, it's pretty hard to sit down.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I'm tired of subjecting myself to this dress. And so I am going to leave you here.
Are there guards? I was sure there's still guards.
Yes, there are still 2 guards in the room.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Okay. She just kind of pauses for a moment. smiles at you, sits up, pushes the chair back, actually gets out of the chair. And you can almost she's trying to stifle it, but she can't help but giggle as she gives you a very, very, very professional and well-practiced curtsy. And then she walks out of the room with one of the 2 guards escorting her.
Well, I guess I'll go home then.
All right.
Are they still drinking when I get back?
We're not
I
actually
assumed
drinking.
we went to the mage's mug.
We're not actually drinking.
Zach swat attack.
I never went to a bar. I went home.
Hey, you're not drinking at home?
I could be when you come in, but I'm not. I'm having a cup. I just wanted to leave. It's called subtext.
Zex is going to the bar.
Okay.
It's all well and good with me. I'm wearing my nice button, but I don't want to go street brawling in this.
Zex looks great at the mage's mugs. He is by far the most dressed up individual.
Well, I would never find Zex there, so I'm going to the keep.
All right. You head off to the keep.
I'm in that chair that I caught you in the first time. Right in front of the fully stoked fireplace because it's getting cold.
If either of you two want to say anything.
Hey, Bram.
Hey, Cena.
Not how I... What did you think of the dinner?
I think they could have sent a letter and it would have did the same thing. I didn't
Fair.
expect you to jump at the opportunity, though. That'll be fun. The only arbiter with hand-to-hand combat training.
I know they said we wouldn't be getting the old titles, but I think they'll think of new ones.
If they were in the business of thinking of new ones, they would have offered all of us a position, not just 2. I'm not sure what they're doing.
Fair.
I'm not worried. How was your post-dinner chat with your pupil?
It was nice.
Do you think she truly understood what I meant when I said that when the world no longer needs heroes, what our value becomes? Or is she still a bit too wet behind the ears, you think?
I don't think she quite understands what it means to do what we do.
Do you understand what I meant?
I did.
Good. Well, would you like to continue drinking with me?
I might as well. And I'll go pour myself a glass.
You're quite the adult now, aren't you?
I guess I am.
Responsibility will do that to you.
The sound of drinks swirling in their cups. As the two of you sit by the hearth and digest this wash of information. And with that, the year is coming to a close. All of you slowly coming back together with new purpose, new opportunity. And that's where we're going to end it. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I know it's a little odd this time to have only 3 players, but I think we made it work. Thank you so much for Suzanne, James, and Helminia for joining me for this stream. Making them feel a little anxious. But we will be returning for reunion and celebration in the next session of D&D 5th edition Papihos. My name is Jacob, or JC, and I've been the Dungeon Master for tonight. If you aren't following yet and you're watching on Twitch, make sure to follow. If you aren't subscribed and you're watching the rerun on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. I am deeply humbled by these people playing in my world, and I'm just happy to tell some stories. Everyone have a wonderful night, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.